to ask about this. I thought it was really interesting for media night. You mentioned how much the trade here to Kansas City obviously revitalized, but also how you were feeling with the Titans in that game where you really kind of questioning things. What was that like when someone who lives and breathes football, you got to a point where you were really kind of wondering about your place in the game?
It was unfamiliar territory for myself because I've always been a competitor, no matter what, and for me in my head, I'm like, man, the year before, I had 7 or however many touchdowns on a run-first offense, over 1,000 yards, which is not easy to do. And so, when I kind of, stepped into this season with the Titans, I knew it would be different having a different coaching staff, but I really didn't know how different it would be. And, I really wasn't included in the game plan. And, for me, that wasn't anything of like importance because I'm a team player, I'm a role player. But, we weren't winning. And so, for me, it's like, I'm a veteran. I understand that, sometimes, it could be me.
You don't know when your last play is. I mean, you could also, and you got to be playing for something, right? I mean, you're still competing at a super high level.
Right, exactly. And, I feel like I still got a lot left, a lot to give to this game. And I love this game, man. And I just want to play some meaningful football. And if not, meaningful football, just be out there, trying to help my team win.
A few months after that, you're in your first Super Bowl. What is this team, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, what has this meant to you at this point in your career?
Man, it's meant the world to me for this organization to come get me from Tennessee. Really not having a lot of things on film from this year. So for me, man, it's just those guys believed in me. In the first game I played, the first third down, they came to me against the Raiders, which was a big third down. And then, the second game, the rest speaks for itself. I think I might have had, 2 touchdowns. I think my second game here. And so, for me, man, it was like, wow, these guys see something in me that, I kind of almost lost hope in myself.
In terms of your career, you look back, and don't want to talk about Houston too much, but you look back at those early years with the Texans, you put up incredible numbers. But that trade, how do you look back on that trade now and how it maybe did affect you for the rest of your career until you ended up at Kansas City being in the Super Bowl?
Man, it's been a blessing, in disguise, that trade, honestly. Very thankful that it happened. I think, as you can see, what happened after the trade didn't work out in their favor. So for me, it's a blessing, man. And I knew it was, something that, would kind of be tough going to a team in Arizona. But, the year I went there, I think, we beat San Francisco for the first time. The second year, we started off 8-0, very high, made it to the playoffs, something that Arizona hasn't done in a long time. So, for me, I took it as a challenge, and, I appreciate it. Yeah.
You played with so many quarterbacks, especially early in your career. How do you describe playing with Patrick Mahomes?
Man, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback I've ever played with. And, I played with some good quarterbacks. I played with Deshaun Watson, who I would say, is one of the best quarterbacks to play this game. But the things Patrick does, man, is incredible. Just his football IQ and how he makes everyone better around him.
Can you talk about Clemson college days? Talk about why you decided on Clemson. What differentiated it from some of the other schools?
Well, I grew up in Clemson, South Carolina, and so for me it was kind of an easy decision having my uncle played there, Terry Smith. My cousin Jarvis also played there, and I could hear the stadium from my house. So every time they scored a touchdown, as a kid I could hear it, and so for me that was a thrill. And I could have went to a lot of other colleges. I played defensive back actually in high school, and Clemson really wasn't recruiting me as a defensive back, and so I went to a 7-on-7, and my coach like, play receiver, and let's see if Clemson's interested. And I went out there and played receiver at a 7-on-7, and man, I had an outstanding 7-on-7, and they offered me after that, which I thought was pretty cool. And I really didn't know anything about 7-on-7 because my hometown high school, man, we were new to 7-on-7. We were an I formation high school, maybe a year before I got there. So that was new to us, 7-on-7s.
You posted a message about being from a small town and trying to kind of inspiring kids and people who follow you. What was kind of the thought behind that? Because you have been through so much to get to this spot, especially considering early in your life.
Man, the thought behind that was, just reminiscing, being a kid who looked up to NFL players. Steve Smith and Randy Moss was two guys I looked up to growing up, and we didn't have the technology back then for those guys to put out messages for a young kid like myself, and I was like, man, I wonder what those guys would say if they had a chance to kind of, give back in a message, and that's kind of was the thought process behind it, man. Just having the technology for kids to be able to, kind of hear a little bit of, about myself.
DeAndre, I'm talking to your mom tomorrow. I don't know if you've seen her yet or talked to her. What would be your message to her leading up to the Super Bowl?
My mom, what she's doing is incredible. I think she's doing a women's empowering brunch. I'm not exactly sure what day, because she's always busy. But also my message to her, thank you. Really, that's it, man.
She's always been there for you, supported you. I remember when you first started with the Texans, people were just blown away by that story. How do you, as you get older, you mature, you go through everything in the NFL, how has that affected you and inspired you to this day?
It's gave me motivation daily to wake up and not complain or make excuses, especially in situations in Houston going through multiple quarterbacks. I saw a lot of other receivers during that time, have a Pro Bowl or All-Pro quarterback, and, they were making, excuses on things, and, I was like, man, my mom doesn't make any excuses, so why am I going to complain about a situation if I'm doing something that I love?
You talked about this being like a childhood dream, so I'm just curious, what is this week been like for you now that it's finally here?
Words really can't describe it. You see this on TV. I've always admired Super Bowl players and Super Bowl teams, and so for myself, it's really words can't describe it. It's one of those things that you just take it in. I would say his football IQ. That's what makes Patrick so special. The guy is smart. I think, he understands every defense. He understands players on the defense and their tendencies. And I think just his football IQ. And I think that's why he's going to play this game for a long time.
Hop, kind of similar to what you just asked you, but after your career, did you ever think you would get here, and what's it feeling like now that you're finally here?
I did. I knew one day I would be in this position. If it took me 15 years or 20 years, I knew one day I would be playing in the Super Bowl, and I always wanted to prepare my body to be able to play, as long as I needed to get in that game, and I feel like I've done that, prepared, changed certain routines, because this is a 20-something game season when you're playing in the Super Bowl, so your body has to be prepared for that. But I always knew in the back of my head that I would be in this position one day.
How'd you describe your time in Tennessee?
Man, I would say it was amazing. The city of Nashville is home still. I still live there, and post football, I feel like Nashville is going to be home for me. And so, the organization, they treated me well. Miss Amy and Rand and those and his staff, they were great to me.
I saw what you said the other night about coming out of the game in Buffalo, wanting to be traded. Some people thought it made it sound like you were miserable there. You thought it was a sinking ship.
Right.
Is that fair, or how would you describe it?
No, I wouldn't say I was miserable there. My time there was never miserable. It was actually, some of the highlight of my career playing football, being in Tennessee. Because I'm a type player. I don't never complain. I don't really look at the records. I play for my teammates and and my coaches. So, I think being able to play with Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs, being able to play with Ronnie Tannehill, being able to play with a young Will Levis and help him develop. I take things like that as a challenge. And, I never complain, but, man, I think being in Tennessee was definitely one of the highlights of my career, even though we didn't get, statistic-wise what we wanted to. I still think it was one of the best times of my career.
Do you have any regrets or about how that all ended, or did it end kind of like you wanted it to?
I really have no regrets about anything in life. Everything happens for a reason. I just wish we could have, got Nashville, at least a division championship, because I feel like, obviously we had some coaching changes and, some players go down, but I still feel like, we could play some meaningful football.
And Amy, what was your relationship like with Amy and some of the people there?
Miss Amy is, that's an amazing woman. I think Miss Amy is she's one of the best, owners in the NFL. She's competitive. She cares about her team, and she knows a lot about football, more than people think she knows.
What last thing, down here? What has to happen for that team to get back on track? And you have hopes there that they.
What has to happen? Obviously, it starts with your quarterback. And I feel like once they get a quarterback that's a franchise quarterback, they got all the pieces around it. They got Calvin Ridley over there, Nick Westbrook playing good football, and I feel like for them is getting a quarterback or developing Will Levis to be their quarterback.
You think we'll see you again in Nashville? If we've not seen the last of you in Nashville, did you say?
No, not at all. Nashville definitely hasn't seen the last of me. I got a publishing music company in Nashville, investing in some restaurants with Max Goldberg, so Nashville definitely hasn't seen the last of me.
DeAndre, when you look at the actual game on Sunday, you put up really good numbers with Kansas City. The playoffs, haven't been able to get the catches, but do you feel like you can really contribute on Sunday and kind of have a playoff breakout? What are you thinking going into that game in terms of actually being on the field?
What I'm thinking going into that game is just being there for my teammates whenever my number's called. Yeah. The Super Bowl is it's not one of those games that you really care about statistics. The only thing you care about is winning that game. So for me, is if I'm going out having one catch or 10 catches, I want to make the best of that. Or I got to go out and make a block for Kareem Hunt or Pacheco to go out and get a first down. That's what I'm going to do, man. Because
all that matters is winning.
Yeah, all that matters in this game is winning, man.
Thank you, DeAndre.